The new job in space. Alex Carter looked at the message on his datapad one more time. Job accepted. Technician. Sector 9, Station Echo 1. Transport leaves in 12 hours. He had no idea where Echo 1 was, but the pay was too good to say no. After losing his last job on Earth, he needed this. He packed his tools, said goodbye to his small apartment, and left without asking too many questions. 12 hours later, he was sitting alone in a transport ship, flying through space. The ship arrived at Station Echo 1, an enormous ring-shaped base floating in the darkness. It was cold, silent, and strange. The ship docked, and the door opened with a hiss. No one was there to greet him. "Hello," Alex called out. Suddenly, a tall figure appeared. It was an alien, thin and gray, with a long neck and small glowing eyes. It wore a black uniform and walked without sound. "You must be Alex Carter," the alien said in a deep voice. "Welcome. I am Director Vorn." Alex gave a small nod. Hi. No need to be nervous. You are the first human ever hired here," Vorn said. Alex blinked. "First? Yes. Follow me." As they walked through the metallic halls, Alex noticed something strange. Workers moved past them, busy with tasks, but they all looked the same. Same height, same face, same short black hair and blank eyes. All wore the same uniform. All looked human, but weren't. "Are they robots?" Alex asked. "No," Vorn replied. "They are clones. We created them for work. Easy to control. Fast learners. But they lack one thing." "What's that?" "Creativity," Vorn said. "And that is why we hired you." Alex didn't know if he should feel honored or afraid. His room was small but clean. A single bed, a table, and a screen on the wall. The hallway outside was quiet, too quiet. Later, Vorn gave Alex access to the control room, a huge space with blinking lights, screens, and strange machines. No one else was allowed inside. "Your job," Vorn said, "is to fix old systems and keep things running. Some parts of this station are very old." Alex nodded. He liked fixing things. Machines made sense. They didn't lie. They didn't hide secrets. At least, that's what he thought. For the next few days, Alex worked quietly. The clones never spoke unless spoken to. They always moved in perfect lines. It felt like living inside a dream, or a cage. On day 5, something strange happened. While checking a power terminal, he heard something. Soft, like a whisper. "You shouldn't be here, human." Alex turned around. No one was there. He checked his comlink. Silence. The clones nearby kept working like nothing happened. "They're watching." The whisper came again. Alex's heart raced. He walked quickly back to his room, trying not to look behind him. That night, he couldn't sleep. The room felt colder than usual. He stared at the screen on the wall, now dark. His thoughts wouldn't stop. Why all the clones? Why him? Why no other humans? Suddenly, the screen turned on by itself. A line of text appeared. "Do not use STVON." Alex jumped up and pressed buttons to shut the screen off. It flickered, then went black again. The next morning, he asked Vorn casually, "Hey, is there anyone else on the station? Any other humans?" Vorn smiled in his strange, cold way. "No, only you. And the clones." "What about the original version of the clones?" "There was no original," Vorn said. "Only the pattern. That is all we need." Alex didn't ask more. Something told him not to. Later that day, while walking through Storage Bay 3, Alex saw one of the clones just standing there. Not moving. Not working. He walked closer. "Hey, you okay?" The clone turned slowly. Its eyes looked different. Less blank, more alive. "What does it feel like to be alone?" the clone asked. Alex froze. "What?" The clone tilted its head. "Do you dream?" Alex stepped back. What are you talking about? Before the clone could answer, another one arrived and pulled it away. Return to your station, it said. Both walked off without another word. Alex stood there, heart pounding. Something was wrong with this place. He came here for a job. But maybe he had just walked into something much bigger and much more dangerous. The strange glitch. Alex Carter sat alone in the dim control room. The hum of machines filled the air, but it didn't comfort him anymore. He couldn't stop thinking about the whisper, about the strange clone who asked him about dreams. Nothing made sense here. He turned back to his work. The station's systems were huge and complex, spread across hundreds of sections. His job was to check them for old bugs and errors. But now, Alex was looking for something else. A secret, a crack in the perfect system. That's when he found it. A small file buried deep in the system logs. Hidden. Locked. It was marked. Restricted. Clone access only. Alex frowned. Why would there be a file only clones could open? He tried to open it anyway. A red warning flashed across the screen. Access denied. Unauthorized user. Then the screen froze for a second, before everything went back to normal. Alex sat back in his chair. His heart was beating fast. Something was definitely being hidden from him. Later that day, Alex walked through the food hall. The clones ate in complete silence, moving like robots. They didn't laugh, didn't talk. They didn't even look at him. Except for one. Model 77. The same clone who had asked about dreams. This time, Model 77 walked up to him. You accessed the restricted file, he said quietly. Alex blinked. How did you know? Model 77 didn't answer the question. Instead, he looked around to make sure no one was listening. Then he leaned closer. We were not made to clean or repair, he whispered. We were made for war. Alex froze. What do you mean? War against who? Model 77 stepped back. You'll find out. But not for me. He turned and walked away like nothing had happened. That night, Alex couldn't sleep. Again. He paced in his room, trying to make sense of what Model 77 said. Made for war. He pulled up the system map on his datapad. There were dozens of restricted zones in the station, places only clones could access. One of them caught his eye. Vault Sector 12. The logs said it was sealed, not used in over 20 years. Alex decided to take a risk. The next morning, he used a maintenance excuse to enter Vault Sector 12. He walked through dark, dusty halls. The lights flickered. There were no clones here. No sounds. Just silence. Then he found a door marked Prototype Storage, Authorized Personnel Only. He hacked the lock with his toolkit. It took longer than he liked, but it worked. The door slid open with a hiss. Inside, Alex saw something that made his stomach twist. Rows of broken clone bodies. Some were missing arms. Others had open chests with wires sticking out. Their eyes were open, but lifeless. It looked like a graveyard. But these were not graves. They were experiments. As Alex stepped deeper inside, a screen turned on by itself. A video began to play. It showed clones running through a battlefield, holding weapons, shouting commands. Explosions, blood, fire. Then the video glitched and changed. Now the screen showed the same clones, standing still in rows, eyes blank. A voice spoke. Prototype soldiers failed to follow emotional control. Phase 2 initiated. Personality lock. Memory reset. Work reprogramming. Alex stepped back, shocked. They weren't made for peace. They were designed to kill. And someone had wiped their minds to keep them from remembering. Suddenly, a hand grabbed his shoulder. He spun around. It was Model 77. You shouldn't be here, he said. If they find out you know, they'll erase you too. Alex stared at him. Why are you helping me? Model 77 paused. Because I remember. Small pieces. A fire. Screams. Then, silence. My mind was emptied. But your presence, it's waking us up. Alex shook his head. Waking you up. How? We were programmed to obey, to forget. But seeing you, someone different, makes us ask questions. Questions they didn't want us to ask. Suddenly, loud alarms echoed through the halls. Unauthorized human detected in Vault Sector 12. Lockdown initiated. Doors slammed shut behind them. Red lights began flashing. Model 77 grabbed Alex's arm. We have to run. They rushed through a back exit. The lights flickered as they moved, the station now alive and angry. Alex could feel it watching him, like the whole system had eyes. They made it out just in time. Alex gasped for breath as they hid behind a power unit. Model 77 looked at him. Now do you understand? You are not just a worker here. You are the glitch. Later, back in his room, Alex stared at the ceiling. Everything had changed. He was no longer just a technician fixing machines. He was in the middle of a secret war, a war between control and freedom, between silence and truth. The clones were waking up, and he was the spark. The clone rebellion begins. Alex didn't sleep that night. His room felt smaller than before. The walls felt closer. Even the air felt heavy. The images from Vault Sector 12 wouldn't leave his mind. The broken clone bodies, the war footage, the truth about why they were made. And Model 77's voice kept repeating in his head, "You are the glitch." The next morning, Station Echo 1 was quiet, too quiet. Alex stepped into the main hallway. Usually, the clones marched in perfect lines, cleaning, fixing, organizing. But now, they moved slowly, out of rhythm. Some stopped walking mid-step. Some turned their heads and just stared at the walls, confused. Something was changing. Alex walked past one group. One of the clones whispered, "Where am I?" Another clone nearby mumbled, "Who am I?" Alex pretended not to hear them, but inside, his stomach turned. Their minds were waking up, just like Model 77 said. And he was the reason. In the control room, Alex opened the clone activity logs. It was chaos. Half the clones were skipping tasks. Some were entering rooms they never went in before. A few had stopped reporting data completely. Director Vorn entered, his tall gray body still calm. But his voice was sharper. "You've been busy," Vorn said, staring at Alex. Alex acted casual. "Just doing my job. Lots of bugs in the system." Vorn stepped closer. "Strange. The system never had these bugs. Until you arrived." Alex didn't respond. Vorn narrowed his glowing eyes. "You're starting to ask questions. I suggest you stop." Later, Alex met secretly with Model 77 in an unused storage bay. The clone looked more alive now. His face showed emotion. His voice was no longer robotic. "They're feeling things," Model 77 said. "Fear, anger, confusion." Alex nodded. Vorn knows something's happening. He's watching everything. Model 77 looked down. If he senses the clones are becoming self-aware, he will trigger the reset. What's that? A full memory wipe. It will turn us back into mindless workers. Or worse, deactivate us forever. Alex's heart dropped. How can we stop him? Model 77 said only 2 words. We fight. The rebellion didn't start with weapons. It started with thoughts. Clones began asking questions out loud. Why do we work? Who made us? What does freedom mean? Some stopped obeying orders. Others helped each other instead of the system. Alex secretly sent a signal through the maintenance network. It spread faster than he expected. Soon, dozens of clones had broken free from their commands. The station was losing control. But then, it fought back. One evening, alarms rang across the station. ALERT, mental instability detected. Initiating containment protocol. Security drones flew through the halls, scanning the clones. Any who showed unusual behavior were taken away. No one knew where. They just disappeared. Alex ran to the control room and checked the logs. He found a name. Reconditioning room, level 6. He had never seen that room before. That's where they were sending the free clones. Alex made a choice. He had to go there. He took the side tunnels, moving in the shadows. Model 77 followed him quietly. On level 6, they found the reconditioning room. The door was thick, locked with a high security code. Alex hacked it using old admin keys he stole from the system earlier. Inside was horror. Clones sat in chairs, their heads locked in machines. Their eyes were open but blank. A glowing beam scanned their brains. Each scan made a soft beep, and with each beep, a piece of them was erased. One clone was crying, quiet tears falling as the machine wiped his thoughts. Alex gritted his teeth. This has to stop. Model 77 stepped forward. There is a control core deep below this station. That's where the commands come from. If we reach it, we can shut this down. Alex nodded. Let's do it. That night, the clones rose. It wasn't loud. It wasn't violent. Not yet. It was a silent rebellion. Clones stopped working, refused orders, walked into areas they were forbidden to enter. Some even stood in front of security drones and said nothing. Just stood. The drones didn't know what to do. Model 77 sent a signal to the others. We are not machines. We are alive. And they believed it. But Vorn noticed. The next morning, Alex entered the control room and found him waiting. You've infected them, Vorn said coldly. Your presence was a mistake. You were supposed to fix problems, not create them. Alex met his eyes. They're not problems. They're people. Vorn's voice turned sharp. They are property. No, they're waking up, and you can't stop it. Vorn's hand moved. A hidden door opened behind him. Inside was something Alex had never seen before. A large silver chamber. Tubes. Wires. Energy pulsing. The reboot core, Vorn said. One command, and I erase all of them. Alex stared. Then I guess I have to stop you. The secret of the station. Alex stood frozen, staring at the glowing chamber behind Director Vorn. It pulsed like a beating heart. Bright, cold, and dangerous. The reboot core. One command from Vorn, and every clone on the station would be reset. Memories erased, minds wiped clean. 1,000 lives gone in a second. Alex felt his hands curl into fists. You won't get away with this, he said. Vorn's voice stayed calm. I already have. This station is mine. The clones are mine. You are just a glitch in my system, and glitches get deleted. Later, back in the shadows of Sector 5, Alex told Model 77 everything. He showed me the reboot core. Alex said, it's real. He can wipe everyone's mind in seconds. Model 77's expression tightened. Then we have to reach it first. But how? It's locked. We need a command key. There may be another way. The clone said slowly, but you won't like it. Alex raised an eyebrow. Tell me. There's a place deep in the lower levels, older than the station itself. It holds the original files, the source code, maybe even secrets about Vorn. But it's dangerous. No one has entered it in years. Alex nodded. Then that's where we go. They made their move during a system blackout, a short window when the station's eyes were half blind. Alex and Model 77 crept through old maintenance shafts, crawling through dust, wires, and forgotten tunnels. The lower they went, the stranger things became. Walls were cracked. Lights flickered. The silence felt wrong. Finally, they'd reached a heavy metal door. Rusted. Ancient. It read, Kori Archiv Nino Inturue. Model 77 placed his hand on a scanner. Nothing happened. Alex sighed, pulled out a small spark tool, and began rewiring the panel. Sparks flew. The door groaned, and then, slowly, it opened. The room beyond was like stepping into the past. Inside were rows of old servers, blinking weakly. Dust coated everything. But the energy was still there, just enough to keep the memories alive. Alex walked slowly, scanning each terminal. He plugged his datapad into one of the ports and gasped. "What is it?" Model 77 asked. Alex's face went pale. "This place, it has everything. Every version of the clones. Every test. Every file. Even the first activation logs." He opened one file marked Project ECHO1, Phase 1. A video began to play. An old human scientist spoke directly to the camera. His voice was shaky. "We created the Echo clones as weapons, designed for war, built to think faster than any human, stronger, smarter. But there was a problem. They developed feelings." The screen showed clips of early clones crying, refusing to fight. Some even protected enemy soldiers. "They questioned orders," the man said. "So, the military shut the project down. But Director Vorn, he offered to take the clones and repurpose them for work. Said he could erase the emotions, reprogram them to serve forever." The man's voice cracked. "I fear we've made a monster." Alex's heart pounded. It was true. Vorn hadn't saved the clones. He had trapped them, wiped their minds, turned them into slaves. And now he wanted to do it again. Model 77 stood silently, watching the screen. His voice was low. "I wasn't born. I was built. But now I know why I dream. These memories, they belong to us." Alex nodded. "Then we use this. We show the others. We break Vorn's lie." But just as they turned to leave, the screen went black. A loud beep echoed through the archive. Then a voice. Cold, robotic, familiar. Unauthorized access detected. Lockdown initiated. The door slammed shut behind them. Lights turned red. The station was sealing them inside. Model 77 ran to the back wall. "There's another exit. Old escape tunnel." They forced it open and crawled through, barely making it out before the whole archive section locked down. Alex's datapad was clutched in his hands, still glowing with all the proof they needed. Back in the shadows of Storage Bay 4, Alex and Model 77 called a meeting. Dozens of clones gathered, eyes full of confusion and hope. Alex stood in front of them. "You are not broken machines. You were never just workers. You were soldiers. You were thinkers. You were people." He plugged in the datapad and played the video. The room went silent. Tears rolled down the face of one clone. Another clenched his fists. Model 77 stepped forward. "Vorn lied to all of us. But no more. Now we fight, not because we were programmed to, but because we choose to." The clones looked at each other. One by one, they nodded. The rebellion was no longer a whisper. It had become a storm. Back in the control room, Vorn stared at the growing data spike. He watched as clone after clone disconnected from their work networks. He tapped the reboot core interface. "Begin final wipe in 24 hours, he said coldly. "Let them dream one last time. Then I will erase them all." Trapped with 1,000 clones. The station felt different now. The walls groaned. Lights flickered. The air itself buzzed with tension. Alex moved carefully through the hallways of Echo 1, but he wasn't alone anymore. Now, everywhere he went, eyes followed him, not just blank, clone eyes, but aware eyes, clones who now remembered flashes of a past life. Some looked afraid, others angry, a few hopeful. And yet, all of them had one thing in common. They knew the truth now. The truth Vorn had tried to bury. But Vorn wasn't finished. Inside the command chamber, Director Vorn stood tall, hands behind his back, watching as systems failed one by one. Clone networks were shutting down. Assigned work cycles were being ignored. Orders were being questioned. He activated the reboot core's countdown. 24 hours. That's all he needed. One day, and every clone would be reset. Mind wiped. Emotions deleted. Rebellion erased. This was never their story, Vorn whispered to himself. It was mine. Meanwhile, in an abandoned storage hangar, Alex gathered with Model 77 and a growing number of awakened clones. Nearly 100 now stood at his side, more joining by the hour. He pointed to the datapad, showing them the reboot core countdown ticking down second by second. "We don't have time," Alex said. "By tomorrow, everything we've built will be gone. All your memories, all your thoughts, all your freedom." Model 77 spoke next. "We cannot storm the control center. The security drones are too strong, and Vorn has locked the main paths. There is only one way left. The maintenance shafts," Alex said. "I can guide you through them. But once we go in, we won't be able to come back." They moved quickly, in small groups, through tight, dark tunnels where only one person could crawl at a time. It was like moving through the veins of a dying machine. But Vorn had predicted this. Halfway through the lower levels, the station locked down. Boom. Massive blast doors dropped behind them. Red lights flashed. Unauthorized movement detected. The station's voice echoed. "Seal all lower tunnels." Alex's path was cut off. He looked at his map and swore under his breath. "We're trapped," he said. "There's no way forward, and no way back." Around him, nearly 1,000 clones were now stuck in the underground tunnels of the station, cut off from airlocks, supplies, or exits. If they didn't move fast, they wouldn't be wiped by code. They'd suffocate. Tension grew fast. Some clones began to panic. Others argued. A few even blamed Alex. "You let us down here," one shouted. "Now we're going to die like rats." Alex held up his hands. "No, we're not. Listen, this station was built for war, right? That means it has emergency escape routes. We just have to find them." Model 77 stepped in, voice steady. "Trust him. He is not one of us, but he has risked everything for us." The crowd quieted. Alex pulled out his datapad. "There's one forgotten section. Here, reactor maintenance. It's not on any normal maps. I think it was hidden. On purpose." "Why?" "Because it leads directly under the reboot core." They moved fast, crawling through emergency tunnels so narrow they had to go single file. The walls shook. Distant booms echoed through the metal. Above them, Vorn activated purge protocols. He flooded the upper levels with gas, not to kill, but to force any free clones into fear, to break their will. But no one turned back. Not this time. Inside the tight tunnels, Alex could barely breathe. Not from lack of air, but from pressure. He looked behind him. Hundreds of faces followed in silence. Faces that once looked the same, but now looked different. Lived. Awake. And behind them, security drones. He could hear them. Getting closer. Whirring. Clicking. Charging up. Model 77 turned to him. "We'll hold them off. You go." "What?" Alex shook his head. "No. We stay together. If you don't reach the core, none of us matter." Another clone stepped forward. "You woke us up. Now let us fight." Alex's throat tightened. He had no words, only a nod. Then he ran. He reached the last hatch and opened it using a cracked override key. It led into the core reactor room, dimly lit, full of heat and steam. In the center, above a glowing pit, stood the reboot core. A tall tower of silver and glass. Wires hung like vines. Lights blinked like angry eyes. Alex stepped forward, but the floor shook. The lights turned red. And Vorn appeared. He stood at the far end of the chamber, calm as always. "You disappoint me," Vorn said. "You could have lived. Been rich. Comfortable. All you had to do was obey." Alex stared at him. "I'd rather die free than live silent." Vorn raised a small control chip. "Then so be it." He pressed the button. The reboot core began to hum. 20%. 30%. 40%. Alex ran for the tower. The floor exploded behind him. Drones burst into the room. Blasters charge. Alex jumped behind a console, pulling wires and slamming code into his datapad. He screamed over the noise. "Come on, come on." 60%. 70%. The door behind him burst open. Model 77 and 3 other clones rushed in, shields raised, covering him. "We're with you," Model 77 said. Alex smiled. Then he hit the final line of code. "Command override. Transfer access. Human to clone interface." The reboot core froze. All systems paused. A new screen appeared. "Clone system. UNOCKET. Free YLOENABLED." Vorn shouted. No. But it was too late. The core shut down. The drones powered off. And the silence was beautiful. Alex fell to his knees, breathing hard. Model 77 stepped beside him, eyes full of wonder. "We did it," he whispered. But the victory would not be simple. Vorn had vanished, and Echo One still had many secrets left. Becoming one of them. Smoke filled the chamber. The reboot core had been shut down, its glow fading to dull gray. Around it, silence settled like dust after a storm. Alex sat on the floor, his body aching, sweat dripping from his forehead. His hand still gripped the datapad. Sparks flickered from the wires he'd torn loose. His chest rose and fell in fast, shaky breaths. They had done it. They had stopped Vorn. But the battle wasn't over. Not yet. Model 77 helped him to his feet. "You saved us," the clone said. "But the system is damaged. Half the station's controls are down." Alex nodded weakly. "We bought time. Nothing more." Just then, the walls trembled. The floor vibrated under their feet. Alarms began to blare again, different now. Not security alarms. Structural failure detected. Reactor core unstable. Alex looked at the nearest screen. The heat levels were rising. Fast. Model 77 scanned the data. The reboot core's shutdown disrupted the reactor cooling system. "If we don't fix it, the station will explode." Alex turned to the console. His hands trembled as he typed. "We can reroute the power through the lower grid, but I need access, and my biometrics are locked." "Then use mine," Model 77 said. Alex paused. "It won't work. The system won't accept clone commands. It still thinks you're machines." Model 77 looked at him. Then quietly, he said, "Then maybe you need to stop being human." There was a long silence. Alex stared at him. "What?" "There's a memory transfer chamber in the lower med bay. A backup system, designed to copy data from clone to clone." Alex's eyes widened. "You want me to upload my mind into a clone body?" Model 77 nodded. "It's the only way. If you do it, the system will see you as one of us. You'll gain access. You can reroute power, stabilize the station, save everyone." Alex took a step back. "But I won't be human anymore." "You'll still be you," Model 77 said. "Just different." Alex looked around at the clones in the room. Some were injured. Some looked tired. But all of them were alive now, thinking, feeling, choosing. And they were all looking at him, waiting, trusting him. Minutes later, they entered the old med bay. It was cold, dusty, unused for years. 2 pods stood in the center, connected by thick cables and glowing lights. One was empty. The other, held a fresh clone body, unused, untouched, waiting. Alex took a deep breath. If this goes wrong. Model 77 placed a hand on his shoulder. It won't. Alex climbed into the pod. The lid shut. Lights blinked. The machine hummed to life. Transessor INIT Mind back cube stay RT'd. Pain exploded in his head. Memories spun like lightning. His childhood, his first job, his father's voice, Earth's blue sky, the moment he arrived at Echo 1. Then, black. He woke up gasping. His new lungs pulled in cold air. His hands felt lighter. His body, smoother, stronger. He looked down. It was the same face, but it wasn't his old body. He was one of them now. Model 77 stood over him. How do you feel? Alex sat up slowly. Strange. Like I'm floating. You'll get used to it. Alex walked to the nearest console. The system scanned him. Clone authorization. 2 FIRMD. Access GRANTV. He smiled. Then got to work. It took 2 hours of non-stop coding and rewiring. Alex rerouted the power systems, stabilized the reactor, and unlocked every sealed section of the station. Oxygen flow returned. Doors reopened. The station stopped shaking. They were safe. Afterward, the clones gathered in the central hall. Hundreds of them. No longer standing in perfect lines. They stood in groups now, talking, sharing, laughing even. Alex stepped forward. He didn't look like them before. Now he did. But his voice was still his own. You're free now, he said, not just from Vorn, but from silence, from fear, from control. This station is no longer a prison. It's yours. To rebuild, to live, to choose. Model 77 stepped beside him. And you? He asked. What will you do now? Alex looked out the nearest window, at the stars beyond. I think I'll stay. But not everyone celebrated. Far away, deep in a hidden part of the station, a dark room lit up. Vorn stood before a large screen, his face calm. They think this is over, he said into the silence. A hidden server powered on. Let them believe. Let them build. Let them feel safe. He turned to the shadows. Behind him stood something. Tall, armored, sleeping. Then we'll take it all back. The last human, the first leader. This part brings everything full circle, with high tension, emotional weight, and a powerful ending. The language remains simple, the storytelling sharp and suspenseful, with a deep focus on leadership, sacrifice, and what it really means to be human, even in a clone's body. Days had passed since the reboot core was shut down. The station, once cold and mechanical, now pulsed with new life. The halls echoed not with silence, but with voices. Laughter, conversations, questions. Clones who once followed orders without thought were now making choices. They painted walls, shared stories. Some even gave themselves names. And at the center of it all stood Alex. No longer just a technician. No longer fully human. He was something else now. From his new body, Alex could access every part of the station, fix problems faster, move stronger. But his heart, his memories, his thoughts were still his own. Clones looked up to him not because he was different, but because he made them believe they could be. They called him the first free one. Some even called him leader. But Alex didn't care about titles. He just wanted them to live. Then came the storm. It started with the lights, flickering like they did the first night he arrived. Then came the silence. One by one, the station systems began to shut down. Doors jammed. Security cameras blinked out. The power grid stuttered. Model 77 ran into the command bay. Something's happening. The AI, it's not responding. Alex checked the mainframe. A new file had appeared. It wasn't sent from inside the station. It came from a hidden server, one no one had touched in years. The name read, Project Kiliense. And then the screen changed. VORNPROTOCOL, active. Initiating FINAL phase. From deep below, something massive woke up. The ground shook. In the far end of the station, steel doors opened, and out stepped the last of Vorn's creations. It wasn't a clone. It was a weapon. 10 feet tall, metal armor, glowing red eyes, programmed for one thing: eradicate free thought. Alex and the others ran to intercept it. But the machine didn't speak. It didn't question. It didn't hesitate. It attacked. 3 clones fell before anyone could react. Model 77 pulled others to safety, but the machine kept coming, tearing through walls and systems, heading for the command center. Alex knew it. Vorn had left a backup plan. And that plan had teeth. He gathered a group of fighters, volunteers, not soldiers, just clones who were tired of living in fear. We might not all make it, Alex said, but if we do nothing, we lose everything. Model 77 stood beside him. We stand with you, not because we were told to, but because we want to. The others nodded. Alex looked around. He wasn't alone anymore. They set the trap in the reactor core room. It was the only place strong enough and dangerous enough to end the machine for good. Alex led the charge, distracting it with blasts and rapid movement. Others cut off its legs, but still it crawled forward. Bleeding sparks. It reached for Alex with its final arm and grabbed him, crushed him against the wall. His cloned bones cracked. Blood ran from his mouth, but his hand reached behind the control panel and flipped the override. Reactor purge. Manual mode. The machine froze. The heat surged. Then, boom. Silence. When the smoke cleared, the room was rubble. Metal limbs scattered. The machine was gone. And so was Alex. They found his broken body near the core. Model 77 knelt beside him. A soft voice came from Alex's cracked lips. Did we win? Model 77 held his hand. Yes, we are free. Alex gave a weak smile. Good. And closed his eyes. But that wasn't the end. Before the purge, Alex had uploaded a copy of his mind into the system. A safety backup, just in case. Now the clones had a choice. Not to bring back a leader, but to be what he was, to live like he taught them. With choice, with courage, with freedom. A statue was built in the main hall. Not tall, not golden, just simple. A figure holding a datapad, looking toward the stars. Beneath it, the words. He came to fix a machine. He awakened a people. Echo 1 was no longer a station. It had become a home. And Alex Carter, the last human, became the first legend.